What was some of the most exciting things about these writing classes? Like, what were some things that you thought you knew about filmmaking, so, story structure, and then you were pleasantly surprised to learn other things?
Well, I think the best writing class I took was a scene writing class. I learned a lot in that class because the teacher basically said that, the problems that are probably present in your screenplay are probably going to also be present in your scenes. So why don't we look and, write a bunch of scenes, and we could learn really quickly. We'll bring in a scene a week, and we'll all get feedback. And I think I learned the most in that class, where I was just every week bringing in a new scene, learning what I was doing wrong, and hearing feedback from others. It also trained me to learn how to receive feedback too. I remember in my first class I was so nervous, and it was a big pile of scenes, and we hadn't critiqued anybody's scene yet. My teacher picks one, and it's mine. He's like, "Who wrote, exterior desert day," or whatever? And I was like, "Oh man, this is me." But I remember being so nervous hearing about what everybody else thought. But by the end of that class, I was like, "Yeah, let's, give it to me." I was open to feedback and learning. So that class really did change me, and I think it's probably like the best class that I've ever took.
What have you learned working in television that could be helpful to people just arriving in LA, new writers?
That writing is, if you want to be a writer with some sort of power, you got to end up in TV. For some reason, the way it's structured in TV, the writers have all the power. So the writers come up with the story. They really focus on story, which is why all the good writers are going into TV, and the film industry is kind of suffering a little bit. But all the good writers go into TV. They figure out the story, and directors come in each week to direct the episode, but they don't have as much power as the showrunner who's in the writer's office. If you're in film, it's complete opposite. It's like it's all about the director. The writer doesn't really have so much power as in TV, and a writer doesn't even have to show up to set sometimes. I've been on a feature film that the writer showed up on like the last day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, here's craft service," So if you want to be a writer and you want to have some power, end up in TV. But if you want to do film, then pursue film, but just kind of know that you're probably not going to have as much power if you're working on a film versus a television show.
Are you still taking screenwriting classes?
I had taken a class, overall screenplay structure class, and I'm still open to taking more. I'm actually just signed up my friend just gave me a year for a master class, a all access pass to master class, which is online classes. I think Aaron Sorkin has one class, and so I'm going to be taking those too. And I think it's okay to, I don't think you should ever stop taking classes. There's always things that you can learn. So, I heard of, I don't know who it was, but there was a successful writer who kept on taking classes, and I think he had won some sort of, maybe it was like an Oscar or something, or maybe he was nominated for one. But I remember hearing stories about, they were told by previous teachers about how the best students kept on taking courses, and kept on learning and figuring out what worked for them.
Yeah, plus you can meet interesting people in those classes, and you can bounce ideas off, or you can see what they're doing and look at something in a new way. And that's the cool part that the online classes don't offer.
True. Yeah, the networking part. And what I would say is to anybody who's up and coming is that people get promoted way quicker than you might realize. So someone who might not be as established as you in your writing class, might one day become your boss, So, and it might happen really quickly. I mean, it's happened, I've seen it happen, so.